Alrighty then. This has to be working this time, right? Let me see. All right, we should be able. Much better. All right, cool. I don't know what happened there. Actually, I do. I accidentally unkicked the power of the microphone before I got started. You remember saying I could stream today? Hey, it ain't gonna be. It's good, just an hour on the dot. I'm playing some board games later today. It's I actually was gonna sit down and work for like an hour. I don't know, man. I know what to work on. Just made a vid for VS Code updates. Code Stacker's out there slaying it, man. I wish him the best, man, because he's out there doing it. He really is. I mean, I just do a couple live streams a week now. Say hello, shoot the shit, provide some mentoring. You know, sell some courses. His hamburger menu button vid. Did he use an icon before? Or all right, I can guess the 5 ways that you can make a hamburger icon. 1, you have 3 nested divs with the with like a little bracket in. Not what I would do. 2, you toggle an icon. A little bit better in my opinion, where you're dynamically toggling it. 3, what I think is the correct way of doing it. It's completely CSS based with transforms and transitions using the pseudo before and pseudo after selectors to add content to and from. That's what my guess is. What is the use of cloud computing and do computations on the web? Yeah. Oh, bro. That's the best thing you're doing now. Yeah, more power to you. You know what I think is something that I've been thinking about building is that's related to the hamburger menu. I've thought about this in the past, and I'm not sure why it's not a thing. So let's say you have YouTube open, and right now I have like a music video going, or you probably have a live stream going, right? If I hit the hamburger menu, it goes from a scroll state to a non-scroll state, creating this shift of the page where it dynamically shifts over. That shouldn't happen. And a lot of times it happens in apps. But I'm wondering why in CSS there's not a selector, like a global selector, where essentially the page. That's what I'm trying to say is a global selector for where I can say the content, the domain of the page is actually underneath that sidebar. And we simply adjust our page by about 10 pixels to account for that at all times. I wonder if that's a wonky idea, because for the most part, you're going to have vertical scrolling in most applications. Now, it'd be optional, but by doing that, you would put yourself in a position where if you are in one of the few situations where you don't have vertical scrolling, it's sort of a fixed layout like that, then yeah, okay. But all other scenarios, you should account for there be vertical scrolling. Anyhow, just thought. I don't know if I communicated that clearly, but I suppose it wouldn't be that hard to do. I bet there is a JavaScript on vertical scroll bar event. Not when it actually scrolls, but when it is actually shown. Select when Windows vertical scroll bar. That's what I'm looking for. Oh damn, this is some hacky shit right here. Do I use Express? I mean I have. If I was to recommend a Node backend framework to use, I'd highly recommend Nest.js. Nest.js is fantastic. Yeah, I definitely don't use PHP. Dude, so my never mind. I'm not even gonna go there right now. Get my family yelling at me. Sorry, it's a meme. PHP is definitely a meme. Oh, there's some people who love it, man. So you can interview me for my challenge I want? Sure. Email me. Dylan's email 310@gmail.com. Yeah. So all you have to remember about jQuery is all it does is, I mean, there's functionality that's built into it, but truly, the thing people use jQuery for is all it is a query selector. So if you wanted to run a local version, this is in quotes, a local version of jQuery, was it document.query selector? You'd simply do this document dot. You do const $. I don't know if you can use $sign as a variable, probably. And you do document dot query selector. Notice that I don't put it in the brackets, right? Because we're storing a reference to it. And thus, when I would go and I'd store a reference, I'd then put in, quotes, what I want, like, my ID, right? Something like that. That's all you do. Native jQuery. Now, it adds a whole bunch of other crap in the background. MD says, question, my company does not have a remote option. We were remote because of COVID. We were going back in a few months. What should I do? I would consider other options. It's always good to get a pay raise, but it's also good to talk to your. Also, so a couple things. One, do you want full remote or do you want partial remote? Like I can tell you, for me personally, I'm cool. I'm much more okay with partial remote. I've been doing full remote for 2 years. I'm over it. So what's partial remote? Maybe you go in the office 3 days a week instead of 5. You break it up. You don't go in Thursdays and you don't go in Tuesdays. So if you think that's swingable, I would have that conversation. So, hey, Alex, custom app development for Shopify. Nice, man. Yeah, my buddy Matt has asked me to build some stuff for him for his business, and I'm cool with it. It's pretty easy stuff. I've just been kind of overwhelmed lately. So I kind of had to, even though I said I said, listen, man, I'm kind of having some mental health issues, all right? I don't want to take on. I don't want to hold you up either. He's doing big things, man. You see my PS4? What PS4? But yeah. So I would, MD. So if it depends how crucial it is to you, I would say if you have the conversation today with your manager, saying, "Hey, what are the chances that I could, work remotely 2 days a week when we go back in the office? Like, is that something? That's something I'd like. Have that conversation. That'll give you a feel. You'll get a feel pretty quickly if he's bullshitting you, if it's a no go, or if it's a possibility. With that, make your decision. Right? Knowledge is power in anything. Like I'm not completely sure when I'll be relocating to Seattle. So I talked to my boss, try to get a feel for where he's at, right? And based off that, I can then go and understand more of what it is that I'm going to do. So, arm yourself, but also, this guy's annoying me. I'm sorry. But also go and look at what's out there, because what you may find is that depending on where you're at in your career, you may be able to get a pay bump and remote, and that's a big deal. I'd caution people about going fully remote early on in their career. You get a lot of enjoyment from Shopify because you get to see how it directly impacts the business. Yeah, I can understand that. This is the first product that's going to be like truly external facing for like customers that I'll be working on, and that's pretty cool. Like it's I've never worked on something where like I can be like, "Yo, mom, dad, I built that shit. Go use it." So that's pretty cool. So I definitely understand. I understand that. So you know, hey Dustin HSC. What's the HSC? First day on the job ever. I showed up tired. Because I just 2 days before that made a 3,000+ mile drive. I had about $1,000 to my name, and walked in. I was nervous. I was anxious. I felt sick to my stomach, but we were men on a mission, man. I drove across the coast to get that first job, and what I would tell you is for the first 3 months, focus on being able to do your job well. Study. After work, that's your only job. Your only job right now is to keep your job, because what you have to understand is learning to code outside of work and then working as a software engineer are two different things. One, you're doing a couple hours a day. Now you're doing it full time, and now you have to learn things that you're only going to learn in the business. Agile, Scrum, maybe some testing, working through processes with team members, right? It's a whole different process being a solo developer than a team member. So how old was I? 28, I guess. Maybe 29, 28. I think 28. So I'm 33, and Here, also on LinkedIn, I can tell you exactly. It's amazing. It's sometimes I think back. I think like it's pretty phenomenal to think like that. So October 2016, which was 5 years ago, right? So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So it's about 4 years and 4 years and 4 months. So I haven't even been working as a software engineer for 4.5 years. So 4.5 years ago, I was 29. No, I was just 28. So between 28 and 29. I just turned 29 in October 2016. So it's kind of crazy when you think that like less than 4.5 years ago, I was delivering pizzas. And like now I'm building enterprise applications. Who hired me? What's wrong with people? But yeah, man. I love it. Get a freelance dev talk on differences and similarities. Yeah. Why do you caution remote work for people new in their career? It's going to stunt your growth. So, that's a major issue. Is I think you lose out on something. I shouldn't say I think. I know you lose out on stuff when you're in the office. Then I know you miss out on stuff when you're in the office. So like, opportunities of learning and growth, and I think it's important until you're truly senior level. You still feel young, dude. I've been feeling old for a while. Apparently, I look younger than. So I met my girlfriend's mother a couple weekends back. Had some dinners while she was in town, and she asked. She has. So my girlfriend's 25 as of last week, and I'm 33, so I'm 8 years older, and her mother's like, "How old is he again?" I was like 33, so she thinks I'm like 20. She's like, "I thought he was like 27." So, I don't know, man. I affectionately call myself a boomer because I'm like ready to like settle down and just like, I don't know, man. Let's see. How much do I earn from my job? This year it's around 235,000, not counting side projects. That's like my total salary, stock, bonus, all that sort of stuff. Did I go back to college to get my degree? No. I haven't looked into Golang. So I enjoy where I work, but not exactly the product. Pay's decent, but benefits are great. If you were me, would you look elsewhere for better pay and something you like working on more? Well, if you really want to stay, maybe there's another team you can transition to. If that's not the case, I think so. I encourage people to leave sooner than later. Why do I say that? Because it takes time to transition to other jobs. And if you wait until you absolutely have to jump ship, you're gonna be miserable for a while because you're gonna stay there as you should. You shouldn't leave a job without another job. So you're gonna be there at a point where now you're staying because you need a paycheck, right? You don't want to go without a paycheck and have a gap in your resume, all that sort of stuff. So if there's not any place for you to go and you can go get better pay, so here's the thing. I'm always going to tell you leave for better pay as long as it makes sense. right? I'm not saying leave for $5,000 or $10,000, but $20,000 is, you know, $1,000 after taxes a month in your pay in your bank account, if not a little bit more. You know, these are real significant amounts of money, right? So I would encourage you to do that. Why? Well, you got family, you have life, you have save for retirement, but you know, the risk is outweighed by the benefit. So, you know, you have to look at that. And when you say better pay, how much better pay are we talking about? I don't care if you love your job, you love the people you work with, but there's a job out there offering you $40,000 more dollars. You go and take it. What's wrong with you? Like, well, hello, Ram. I am a front end engineer. That's what I do. I build the front ends. You know, the front ends, engineerings. Projects can help a junior front end engineer get hired. Build your own stuff. That's what I tell you. Build something of your own. Don't go and, you know, a lot of, I hate these courses that come out and like build Instagram clone, build Netflix clone, this or that. That's all cool and it introduces you to stuff, but like, you need to build your own shit. Should you learn classes in React? I mean, if you understand the concept of classes and object-oriented programming, I don't see any reason why. Most of that is dated. Timothy, Dylan, thank you for all the help. Got a job with everything and competitive pay for a junior. Nice, man. You mind sharing? You mind sharing a little bit about what you transitioned to? Let's say, you know, obviously you weren't a developer before. So what were you doing before? And if you don't mind sharing monetary details, people like that stuff. I'm pretty open about what I make money wise. So like, not everybody is though, right? Like, and even this is the first job where I've felt uncomfortable saying how much money I make. Cause it's sort of we're getting towards absurd levels in my opinion. I make more money than I thought I'd be making, especially this early on in my career. But I always ask people to share that because a lot of people are coming from humble beginnings and they, you know, they look at me sometimes and they're like, oh, here's a guy who's been doing it forever, even though I haven't, you know, 4.5 years. Feels like eternity though. That it's always nice to hear how people start and where they're transitioning and where they came from and what they're doing and their success stories. So anything you feel like sharing, please do. Does Code Complete help you with building your own shit? I would say Code Complete is an advanced book. It's dreadfully boring if you were to ask me. Is 75,000 total compensations for 2 years good? It kind of depends where you're at. I could tell you at 2 years I was making around 105. But I was making 75 before I renegotiated. As an aspiring software engineer, connecting with a good mentor changed it all for me. I went from struggling to excelling in a few short months and actually understanding programming and get a mentor. Yes, that's very important. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually on Mentor Cruise. I just started doing this 2 weeks ago. I got my first one the other day. I haven't really been promoting it too much, but let me see if I can share a link to my thing where I'll share it in the chat here. Paste this. So basically it's $240 a month and I meet with you 30 minutes once a week. And then we can send back some messages over the chat and whatnot. And I'm taking on a total of 4 more people, up to 5 at any time, where it's essentially a lower cost, not cheap, but it's lower than what I would charge typically for more consistency, where we meet up once a week and I can help provide direction and all the stuff on a more personal basis, right? That's kind of why I do like these live streams, to provide mentoring. Have a good one, Alex. I was originally a web dev making 60K. Now I'm a software engineer making 90K. I quit my first dev job to do some leak code. This was after working for a year, comp sci grad, no internships. There you go, 60 to 90. That's a 50% raise. That ain't too shabby. It's amazing how sometimes you go and grind some of those logical problems. Just even if it's just past the interview, you'll be a better developer because you'll be able to break problems down a little bit more. But like, it's amazing how like sometimes that's what it takes. Yeah. So I actually have had a lot of these programs reach out to me over the years, and this was the first one I liked. I've actually been meaning to add on. So like you can add on custom things like, hey, you want me to do a code review? You know, this and that, or you just want to meet one time. Like I think you can sign up right now to simply apply for a mentorship, but also I think that you can actually just do an introductory call as well. So like if you just want to do a 30-minute call, it's like $40 just to like see if I'm the right guy for you. Am I building passive income to pay for my lifestyle? I am building passive income, but it's very low compared to my non-passive income. Between the courses on Scrimba, Udemy, my own courses, and a couple of affiliate links and like YouTube ad revenue, it's like $2,000 a month, maybe $3,000 in a good month. So it's it's one of those things where I'm building it up and it's helping progress my investments, my future, all that sort of stuff. On a side note, has anyone been following Bitcoin? I swear, man, this thing's going up like $1,000 a day. I can't believe what Bitcoin's doing, man. I really can't. It's pretty astounding. Why not the Dogecoin? Come on, man. Let's Dogecoin going for now. You bought Ethereum. Did you sell it, Joseph? Because I don't understand why you'd be sad. Unless you sold. I did in December. Oh, bro, hodl. Okay, so this is what I say about crypto. And again, this is not financial advice. This is just some idiot that knows nothing about crypto and is purely speculating. I build stuff as a front end engineer for a living. I do not invest for a living. I am not a financial advisor, but this has been my thought about crypto: is buy it and hold it. And if there's a point in time where you can roll it over into an asset that is more stable, that you'd be happy with, even if it goes over. Like in my case, right, the crypto I bought, at some point I wanted to pay for a house, pay off a house, pay for a house, whatever, so that even if it goes to the moon, like Bitcoin's almost $57,000 coin, even goes to 500,000, I'll have some regret, but I'll be like, oh, well, I paid off my house with it. Oh, well, I bought a house with it, whatever. That's been my sentiment: is get it to a point where, like, when you do, because it's all theoretical until you take it out, right? Go and roll it over into another asset at some point when you feel like you're happy with your gains. I got desperate because I needed the money. I feel you, man. it's hard, and that's another thing is I talk about why it's we've been talking a little bit about money and getting your income up, but part of the reason you have to get your income up is so that you can invest, right? So like if you make $32,000 a year, you probably don't have more than let's say at most $5,000 a year of extra money at most. But if you just go from 32 to 45, you now, with adding that $13,000 on, you now have more than 2.5 times your disposable income for investing. So at a certain point, when you're able to take your when you're able to keep your cost of living low, but you're able to increase your income, it's not so much that by increasing your income 25%, you only have 25% more money. It's actually you have 250% more capital of which to grow money and build passive income. And that's important. And there's a special distinction because you have your base cost of living. For me, my base cost of living is probably, my mortgage is about $1,700, HOA. So let's say about $25,000 a year for my house. Utilities, I don't know, we'll just throw $5,000 on top of it. And then food, another $10,000. So let's say my cost of living is about $40,000 a year. That means that I have whatever above that in terms of, fund money and investing and things like that. So, and when you're at like a lower income level, it's significantly, the returns can be significantly greater. And that's why it's so important to keep your cost of living down low so that you can do that and not be stuck in this sort of perpetual paycheck to paycheck grind that I've been the majority of my life. So yeah, Joseph, you have the right mentality. This is what I've talked to Eric a little bit about before, is about essentially like so many people are working so hard to build passive income and to sell courses, do YouTube, whatever it is, right? Their hustle. But I personally, and that's all great, I'm all for that. I think it's going to make you a better developer. I think making passive income is the best things you can do. But when it comes to money, I don't think you should be worried about that if there's big gains that can happen in the non-passive way. So like, go invest in yourself, get those giant gains, right? Get those 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 raises, whatever you can do. And when you hit sort of a metaphorical glass ceiling where the next breakthrough point is very, very hard, then you maybe put more effort into the passive income. But you should really try and take the path of least resistance most of the time when it comes to increasing your income, especially when the quote unquote guaranteed income, right? And I think that's some people make that mistake, especially with this whole like digital nomad meme, where a lot of people don't even want to do digital nomad. What they want is remote. And guess what? Remote is more plentiful even before COVID than most people thought. So it's one of those things. Yeah. Yeah, but figuring out how to, there's there's, I mean, it's hard for me to talk about people it's not appropriate for me to talk about people who are struggling financially in tough financial positions, generally speaking, coming from a much more established career and in a different financial situation. It's in bad taste. But with that being said, what I would say is that there are people who have income problems, meaning they just have to get your income up. It doesn't matter how well you budget. If you live off 20 grand a year, you're living off 20 grand a year. It's going to be hard no matter what you do. So you got to figure out a way to get your income up. Going back to school, learning a skill, getting a hustle. And even the hustle, I would say, isn't the best idea because you can't work. I mean, as someone who's worked 80 hours a week for a long time, you can only do it so long. It's not healthy for you. If you're grinding, you should only be grinding for a certain, the goal should be to get out of the grind, not just grind to retirement. That's never going to work. So there are definitely people who have income problems where you got to figure out how to get your money up, do all that stuff. Skill, trade, start a business. I don't know, right? That's on the individual to figure out how to do that. And then there's people who have spending problems. I have friends who make six figures and they don't, they have a spending problem that you wouldn't believe. Like, Dylan, I've been pondering this a lot. What do you think about the phrase discipline is equal to freedom? I've been trying to understand this past couple weeks. This is the first time I've heard it. I suppose from a financial perspective, it's very true. If you have the discipline to have a low cost of living and invest with those resources, then you're giving yourself more freedom every year that you continue that discipline, right? So like, that aspect is very true. Yeah, man, I think Joseph, what you're saying is consistency and discipline and all that is freedom. And what you'll start to see is that like most people don't hate their job. Most people hate their job. The people who don't are the people who choose to work and don't have to work. Thank you, Billy. Yeah, I'm doing much better, man. One thing that's been interesting. Let me finish this thought. There will come a time in my life. There'll come a time in my life where I financially will not need to work. If everything stays and I don't have any major health issues or anything like that, where financially I will have passive income streams from real estate and whatnot. There'll come a time, probably by 45. I expect myself to actually keep working. I might change to like something that pays a little less, and I might go to like a nonprofit or who knows. That'll be a choice, but I want the option. I don't necessarily want to say, hey, I'm working real hard saving so that I don't need to do that. I just want the option because I think that's what's important. So, I forgot what I was about to talk about in a second. About doing well. Yeah. So, I've been making and I hope a lot of other people after 2020 are making good strides in their mental health. I've been doing very well. Part of it's helped is just stability in my life. I've been a little stressed, and that's been kicking up some mental health issues just because of starting a new job and whatnot. And it's not even new; it's been like 2 months at this point, which is crazy, man. So it's been but what I'll say is that there are parts of me that are not 100%, and there are parts of me that are, and I think that's probably how I always was, and I was just in denial about it. So, but I feel good, man. I feel good. I'm dating somebody. I'm very passionate's not even the right word. Not saying I'm not passionate about her, but I'm dating somebody who I feel we're very healthy together, and that makes me appreciate her. Very appreciative. That's the word I'm looking for, and that is been very good for me. So, you know, I told her she keeps playing around, she's gonna get her ass wifed up in a couple of years. All right. I was like, girl, you better knock it off. I'm gonna have to get that prenup made. No, just I don't know. I was joking about that. It's like, don't you dare disrespect me with a prenup. Oh man. Is making Udemy courses worth it? Is the time worth the payoff? My courses are super large. You know, it takes me. Careful there, showed you a little bit of the goods. She's joking, man. I'm not gonna make her sign a prenup, dude. Come on. I wouldn't make anyone sign a prenup. Listen. Anyhow, guys, let's move on from this topic before I get into trouble here. Sometimes she jumps into these live streams on either catching me joking about this shit. But yeah, I mean, I put a lot of time into my courses. I only plan on releasing one every 6 months or one a year, so it kind of depends. Right now, passively, I make around $700-800, sometimes $600 a month from my existing courses. So it kind of depends on what that is worth it to you. But MD, I'm not even saying that like I wouldn't be working. I'd probably just be working on my own stuff, or I'd be running my own business. It's working for somebody else, I think, is what a lot of people think when they say they're working. Mental health also improve without crazy people in your life. You look happier than you've ever looked, man. Yeah, man, I'm pretty happy. I'm just growing, and growing's difficult. So, it's one of those items where Gator, yeah, there. It's one of those items where there's a lot of firsts this year that haven't happened in a while. So just getting accustomed to change and growing. It's difficult at times, but it's worth it. So if I had to sneak a parrot through airport security, how would you do it? I probably wouldn't do it. Also, there are certain what do you call it? Airports for like $100 to let you take a dog on the flight. I'm sure you could do it with the parrot also. I think JetBlue lets you fly pets. Small dogs and cats may travel in the cabin in an FAA-approved pet carrier that fits comfortably under the seat in front of you. Only one pet per customer is allowed. Yeah, so that says cat or dog, but I bet you could probably figure it out. Bro, do not sneak a live animal onto it, man. Folks are bringing ponies and therapy snacks. Yeah. It actually makes it really hard to travel, especially two dogs this size. Like, look at this guy. Gator's almost 75 pounds and she's 50 almost. So, like, hey, baby girl, you can come up here. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd fly him with me. I would pay for 2 extra seats if they say it's okay. I don't know how they would do awful. They're not very well trained. But like one day, I'm gonna buy like an RV so I can actually take him places, take him on the road. Sweetheart. I'm using a GSet manager, HTML canvas. What animations do you need to do that you need to do HTML canvas? Honestly, transition, all properties, set the thing. That's more or less what you need to do 90% of stuff. Question: what do you suggest for state management in Angular, maybe Redux? So oftentimes I don't think you need state management in Angular if you build your application properly. If you really do, I would consider creating a bunch of singleton services as a publish subscribe pattern, a pub sub model, and using ArcJS with the observables and behavior subjects for the things that you do need to keep in sync. I personally think stores, global stores in Redux and things like that are anti-patterns. And I think it leads to a lot of spaghetti code. Because like if you remember rule number 1, this is one of the issues I've had with React, is that they essentially broke all the rules and they're slowly transitioning away from it. But rule number 1 is like don't use globals. And like rule number 2 is like don't do inline styles. And rule number 3 was like separate things out into the responsibilities. And like it very much reminds me of like Apple being innovative by removing headphone jacks. So what I would say, and when I say don't use globals, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the fact that like stores only like global, and I have issues with that. So I don't know anything about the technology of what Codecademy is using. But I mean, Codecademy is just another platform. Spend a weekend doing one of the courses, get you introduced to something, then go build stuff. So, just like anything else. Are they reactive too? I mean, if one component value changes, is the update handle on the other components too? Yes. So you'd have to use a behavior subject. So let me get my whiteboard. I'll draw it out so it'll make sense. All right. So think of publish subscribe pattern similar to you subscribing to a YouTuber, right? I'm the YouTuber. So I'll say Dylan here. So shit, maybe you can see that with the light. Come on. There we go. So, all right. So this is me. I have 70,000 subscribers. Do I actually go and say, hey, send out 70,000 tweets or 70,000 updates. No, what I do is whoever, sub 1, sub 2, I simply say, hey, new video one time. And then everyone who's listening for that event, their feed gets updated, right? But the publish aspect is a single time. So what you would do is you would essentially have a single service. Let's say you wanted to keep the user data in sync. When the user data changes, I do a single publish. This is the publish action. All my components, regardless of where they're in the application, are listening to this one thing. And that says, hey, when this publish event fires off, update, update, update. And thus we're all in sync. You can do that by creating a singleton service. Specifically, if you're using RxJS, which Angular does, you can use a behavior subject. In each one of these components, you would subscribe to that behavior subject, essentially to that event. And in your service, wherever you're using your service to update it, you simply would say, hey, update or publish with this new data. That's all you have to do. So it's a simple pub sub. I shouldn't say simple because if you're not familiar with it, it's not going to be simple. But it's a publish subscribe pattern with the goal simply of saying controlling all the state in one thing and then updating the various components. Are they reactive too? Yeah. I mean, so like as your props change in React or as your properties in Angular change and it impacts the DOM, then yeah. Unless you there is a setting in Angular, but it's not turned on by default to make it a little harder to update. So it's not as many changes. Would this also be considered as the flux pattern? Let me see. I'm not familiar with the flux pattern. Heard that name before though. Action dispatcher goes to store, goes to view. Action. I am familiar with this. I didn't know that it was called. So essentially, the publish would be the action. The dispatcher, in this case, it's more like the action and the dispatcher are kind of the same. Like they're in so here. Because in theory, so in the flux pattern example I'm looking at here, in theory, there's no reason you have to go to views. You could. So, what roadmap would you recommend to learn Angular? Effectively, just build things, man. Go watch a crash course, build things. Yeah, I love Angular. I really do. I think it's great. I think it can lead to very clean code. Puppies. Traverse through the Crash Course Hero. What's Brad doing? I don't know, man. I haven't been watching too many of his videos lately. I know he's doing. For a while, I was supposed to build something. I think I forgot again. Are there any patterns considered as pub sub that are important? MVC. I don't know that I call that a pattern. I guess it is a pattern. It's just a different pattern. Yeah, man. A lot of us are struggling in 2020. I think we all get a pass for 2020, man. 2020 was a 2020 was one of those years where it's like we're gonna pretend like those L's didn't exist. Like they're sort of the freebies. You know what I mean? Like like when you'd play games with like your brothers and sisters and like as a kid and you'd be like and you lose and be like, that was a practice round. 2020 was a practice round. In 2021, if we lose, we're taking real L's though. 2020. "2020 is one of those things where we can pretend like it it's a warm up. 2020 is a warm up. So is 2021 still considered 2020? No, man, my life's much better in 2021. I'm also in Florida where like it's like nothing's changed. We just wear masks on occasion. I've started the end of 2020 with a a new relationship. I should say I started dating someone. Now I'm in a relationship. Been going almost 3 months, man. We were talking about that yesterday. I was like, how time flies. So, started, dude, the end of 2020. 2020 was about to be a major L. A major L in 2020. 2 failed relationships. Everything that's happening with COVID. I lost some consulting work, all this. Boom. Amazon job. Boom. New relationship. And both are going pretty well in 2021. So I got no real complaints, man. Keep trying to keep the good momentum going. It was like it was still an L of a year, but we came back with a vengeance at the end of the year. It's like everything started hitting. Bam, bam. I gave them the old 1-2, as Masvidal would say, the 3-piece in the soda, the combo, baby. Baby girl, you're gonna fall off. I can't talk too much about the interview process. There's a lot of resources out on the internet that talk about it. Do the whole NDA stuff, man. Big tech always, man. Big tech always. I'd stay away from startup life. It's not good for your heart. That's a young man's game, man. I'm a boomer. I'm a boomer in heart and spirit. So anyhow, guys, we've been going about an hour. It's been fun. I hope you got some value out of it. If you're interested in any of the courses, there are links I have in the description below. and you can help me out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. See you next time. Bye.